ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः।
Dear friends, welcome back to the study of the Bhagavad Gita, and we were studying the 4th chapter, and we are in a section where Sri Krishna is teaching us what are the signs and symptoms, lakshana in Sanskrit. What are the signs and symptoms and a behavior pattern of a realized soul? Why? Because he said before that I am born to re-establish the lost validity, relevance, and value of religion. And I behave myself as a human in this world, but with divine qualities. And finally he says, he who knows me as such. What does it mean? He who, though he sees me as a human, but sees the total manifestation of divine in me, he is liberated and he is not born again. He merges with me. That is what he says. Now he has said, he knows me as such. When he says one who knows me as such, it is his bounden duty to teach us how to know him as such. The following shlokas are nothing else but the procedure, the method, the technology or the technique as to what should be our attitude so that we develop to see God in man or God everywhere. This is the phase where we are in. Now, it is very descriptive, very inspiring, these shlokas. But please do not be carried away by the poetics of the whole thing. There is a very, very deep-rooted understanding is required to get the maximum benefit out of this study. This is the main purpose, to profit ourselves from the wisdom emanating from these verses, not to be enchanted by the poetic excellence. So I have been telling you all the time that these lakshanas, these signs and symptoms and description of behavior pattern has a deep-seated, deep-rooted, suggestive meaning. And please don't forget that. And what is that? I would request you all to remember these 2 words. A small sentence from Acharya Shankara in the Gita Bhashva, and what a realized soul known as Pahari Baba of Ghazipur, whom Swami Vivekananda visited after Sri Ramakrishna's passing away, what he had to say to Swamiji. Let us first quote Acharya Shankar. The purpose of these Lakshana shlokas, were the signs and symptoms and behavior pattern, attitude of a realized soul is described. What is the purpose? These signs or symptoms are spontaneous with him, the realized soul, because he has experienced oneness with the Absolute. Immediately, the impact, the trauma of that experience has transformed his attitude totally. How come? I'll give you a very gross example. The example exemplifies that it is possible for all of us to reach that position, reach that level of awareness. Say, for instance, something has happened and you are in a tearing rage. In that rage, the first casualty is you have lost all sense of propriety. Even if your best friend, seeing how angry you are, wants you to quieten down, soften down, he comes with the friendship that he has, patting you on the back and tells you, please calm down, it may hurt you physically, you may have a stroke. But you are so saturated with anger, seized with that propensity known as anger, you have forgotten he is your best friend. You get him by his arm, throw his arm out and say, go to hell, I don't need you. Why? You are angry. The saturation is complete. What I am trying to highlight is you have the capacity to be totally saturated, and the first casualty is your sense of propriety. You have lost all sense of balance. You are totally saturated either with anger or with greed or with ego or whatever it may, vengeance, jealousy. You have that capacity to be totally saturated. That realized soul was at one point of time, before his realization, was sometimes saturated by any of these propensities. Now what has happened? By diligent, determined, devoted, disciplined management of his own self, known as tapasya, he has gone beyond it, and he has or she had saturated herself through experiencing oneness with the divine. As soon as the saturation with the awareness of the presence of the divine takes place, you have for all practical purposes, divinized yourself. And you see the divine everywhere, spontaneously. That diligent, devoted, determined, disciplined effort quotient has disappeared. You are saturated. This capacity is inherent in all of us. So now let's come to analyze what Acharya Shankara had to say. Acharya Shankara says, Sarvatra eva hi adhyatma shastre. All over the scriptures, you will find Kritartha Lakshanani. You will find the scriptures are nothing else but description, information of Lakshana, signs and symptoms, and description of behavior pattern of a realized soul. Sarvatra eva hi adhyatma shastre kritartha lakshanani. Yani, those which are kritartha lakshana, that is signs and symptoms and behavior, descriptive behavior pattern of a realized soul, sadhanani cha bhavanti tani. They are the points of sadhana. What is sadhana? Dedicated, determined, devoted, well-disciplined effort. Effort to correct my present attitude to the world and to raise my level of awareness, the attitude of awareness of presence of the divine everywhere. Why so? Why it is your sadhana? Because you have to put your heart and soul into it. Jatna sadhatvat. It doesn't fall from the skies on your lap. You have to achieve it by the sweat of your brow, by a back-breaking endeavor. That is sadhana for you. So, the sadhana is nothing else but the practical performance of the siddha avastha with an effort. I will not get angry. Come what may. Is it not a determined effort? First time you fail, second time you are aware you are failing, the third time before you fail you are so aware that you do not. And more you practice this, that habit formation practice makes it easier and easier and easier for you, and then you forget what is to be angry. Angry? What is that, Ray? I don't understand. What is anger? Spontaneous. How does it become spontaneous? With a back-breaking effort. The effort is sadhana, and the end result is siddhi, success. So Acharya puts it in a highly academic manner, but psychically it is just the same. Jatna sadhatva. It has to be achieved by back-breaking effort. And Pahari Baba, in a very common language, with two words, he said to Swamiji, you know, Jana sadhana, whatever is the back-breaking effort you are doing, when the effort quotient disappears, it becomes spontaneous. That is siddhi. That is success. That is, I want to control my greed. Greed for everything that the world promises you through your sense organs and body-mind complex. The most important is the biological entity. Impulse. You start controlling it, and make back-breaking effort. Let each failure become a pillar of success. Failures are nothing else but pillars of success. And a time will come, you will ask me, Swami, what does the word greed mean? It has been obliterated from my conscious thinking. I don't know what anger, what greed is. Could you tell me? That is spontaneity over anger, greed, and all the 6 propensities. So, this section that we are reading is full of lakshanas, full of descriptive words which tells you what you should practice. And practicing is nothing else but repetitive, similar, continuing effort. We practice that I should be aware of the presence of the divine deep in the core of my heart. It is an imagination today, and more I keep on repetitively continue to practice the similar thinking, it gets a hold on me, it becomes easier, and then it becomes spontaneous. So all these descriptions, they are not only informative, they are educative, instructive, and descriptive of the goal that you have to reach. Informative, educative, instructive, descriptive. The whole of the scriptures is nothing else but this. So now we have read the 21st shloka in great detail. Now the same ideas are being spoken to us in various perspectives. We do not know which perspective will appeal to me, will stick to me, will gel with me. Therefore, the Bhagavad Gita has 1,000 different descriptions of a realized soul. When he describes that, he tells you, this is for your information, this is for you to educate yourself, this is how you perform, instruct, and this is where you reach. At the 21st shloka he says, Nirashir jata chityatma Tvakta sarva parigraha Shariram kevalam karma kurvanyapi na lipyate. Or Kurbanyapnoti na kilvisham. It means the same. Kurban kilvisham na apnoti. How come? Nirashi. Ashi means desire. I roam in this world without any desire. How is it possible? What is the attitude? The next shloka explains the attitude. Let us go to shloka number 22. Jadricha labha santushta. That is what nirashi or parigraha is. Takta sarva parigraha. So the 22nd shloka tells you practically how do you practice it. Jadricha labha santushta. What does it mean? Jadricha labha santushta. Santushta means you are totally satiated. There's no desire, therefore there is no motivation for acquisition for anything in this world. Tvakta sarva parigraha nirashi jatachitta atma. You have such a control on yourself by being desireless that you have no motivation left to acquire anything from this world. This is descriptive, educative, informative. How to do that? Let's go to the 22nd shloka. Jadricha labha santushta. You are totally saturated. Whatever comes in your way, unasked for, uncalculating for it, without any planning to achieve it. Takta sarva parigraha. In English there is an idiom, seek not, reject not. Don't seek anything and don't reject anything. Here, our scriptures, our disciplines have a little difference. You will reject what is against your vows of life. That has to be there. That discriminative attitude. I seek nothing that is omnibus or pervasive. कुछ नहीं चाहिए मुझे. I do not want anything whatsoever. In totality. Looking at you and your that attitude, seek not, people will admire and appreciate and say it is winter, he needs a winter garment. And he, as an expression of his devotion, he spends quite a few dollars to give you a very posh jacket. If you have, you will not take it. You will be surprised to hear it is for the inner circle of the Ramakrishna group of devotees. When Premananda ji passed away, it was found what he has left behind, his personal effects and belongings. There were 2 mirzais, that are half sleeve, front open shirts, 2 dhotis, 2 kopinams. That's all was found. 2 why? One has to be washed and the other has to be worn. 2 a pair each of shirt, a pair of dhoti, and a pair of kopinam. That is all he possessed. And he was happy with it. Jadricha lava santushta. Now, I have only a wrap around me for winter. Mind you, if somebody gives you a blanket, you have every right to reject it. You would rather reject it. You suffer the cold, you suffer the heat, you suffer the pain, you suffer the pleasure, you suffer agony, you suffer misery. Dvandha atita. Let it not disturb your cool. And while doing so, in a winter you are shivering and you find somebody very well dressed, you have no right to be jealous of it. Be matsara. Matsara means by comparison, he has, I don't have, and you feel bad about it. It's an expression of jealousy. Matsarya. From that, the word matsara. Matsara, matsarya. Abstract noun. So, you have to be dvandha atita bimatsara. Vigata matsara jasya sa vigata matsara. Bimatsara. Jadricha lava santushta. Dvandhatita bimatsara. Sama siddha asuddhaucha. Kritvapina nibadhyate. Sama siddha asuddhaucha kritvapi na nibadhyate. What does it mean? Samata, equilibrium, not to lose your cool, not to be unbalanced. Where do we get unbalanced? Siddhi, we are happy, we are at the top of the world. Asiddhi, we are down at hell. We fall on mud with a thud. Samaha, equilibrium. Be as cool as a cucumber. That's an English adage. That means under no circumstances you have the luxury to lose your cool, lose your poise, your serenity. Keep yourself absolutely undisturbed poise. Why? When you don't throw pelt in a pool, throw stones in a pool, the water is as flat as a piece of glass. You can see the bottom. When your chitta is absolutely stable, you can see what is the core behind it, your true original nature, the Atman, which is immutable, immovable absolute. That is why samatha, angerless, desireless, greedless, the 6 propensities, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarja. Matsarja is matsarasya bhava, matsarja. And matsara is subtlest form of jealousy. Oh, he has, I don't have. So now the shloka 22 teaches you what attitude you have to cultivate while you live in this world. Now let me read again word to word. Jadricha labha santushta. Now, let me be a little academic. When you are in samadhi, chitta-vritti nirodha is the definition of samadhi, where chitta has lost the capacity to modulate and modify into vrittis. And how does the vrittis come? Indriya Vishaya Sanyoga or Antakarana Vritti. A memory may cause vritti also. So when you are in samadhi, the question of vritti does not arise. Hunger, thirst, etc., does not exist. You are one with the Absolute. Now, by God's grace, you come back to the world. And this body-mind complex is alive and it is functioning as natural. So, you are a victim of hunger. You are a victim of thirst. You are a victim of cold, a victim of warmth. You are a victim of all these. So what happens? How do you manage that? He says, look, I'm quoting you another half a line of our shloka. Madhukaram asankliptam prah pranitam ajachitam. Yes, you are allowed to go and beg for a morsel of food to keep your body alive for no other purpose, just to keep your body and soul together. So what is the instruction? Madhukari, Madhukara Vritti. What does Madhukara? Madhukara is a honey bee. It moves from flower to flower to flower to flower, collecting pollens. It doesn't take away all the pollens of every flower. Why? Because he is no burden to a flower. So, Madhukara Vritti means he will go to at least 3 houses. You are not supposed to take a full meal from one person, one house. Why? That's a load on them. Minimum 3 houses. And if that is enough, you should not go to the 4th. But you should go minimum to 3 houses, whatever you get. Maximum 7 houses. If you don't get anything in 7 houses, you know you're destined to remain hungry. And what is it? Asankliptam, without any sankalpa, without any planning. Oh, I went for bhiksha to that house. They gave me very good things to eat. I will go there. Nothing doing. No repetitiveness. Today in this locality, tomorrow in that locality, tomorrow in that locality. Keep on roaming. Acquaintance, intimacy should be avoided. Madhukaram asankliptam sankalparaitam prak pranitam. Don't wish anybody to satisfy him, and he being elated gives you to eat. And ajachitam, don't ask anything. Narayana Hari, that is how you announce your presence. Give them some time to react. Repeat it thrice. If there is no reaction, walk away. That's the first house. Second house, he wants to feed you. Nothing doing. A morsel is enough. Third house, if they don't respond, go to the fourth. You cannot go beyond seventh, and should not be less than 3. You must carry the message of God by saying Narayana Hari at every door. Remind them of God. That is what your duty is. Jadricha labha. Whatever comes your way, you can accept it, provided it is not against your vows. And santushta. You are always happy, pleased, satisfied. No hankering, nothing whatsoever. I am happy. Jadricha labha santushta. That is the attitude, the instructive part of the previous shloka. Prak pranitam ajachitam tvakta sarva parigraha. Jadricha labha santushta. Now, when you follow this, you will, the body will, the mind will experience pleasure or pain, ecstasy or agony, warmth or cold, whatever you may say. Even warmth or cold are replaceable. In winter, warm is welcome. In summer, warm is not welcome. They change character. Whatever it may be, dvandha. Dvandha means dual throng, duality. Atita. You be beyond that. Jadricha labha santushta, dvandha atita, and if you look around the world and you see people well dressed, well fed, well placed, have nothing to do with it. Be vatsara. Nothing to do with it. Dandhatvita bivatsara. Siddho asiddho. Whether it is success or failure, samah bhutva. take it in your stride. Do not lose any cool. Kritvapi na nibaddhate. Now, let us conclude. This is the sign and symptom and behavior pattern of a realized soul. And I see him going a begging for food. I see him to be reasonably presentable in society, not moving naked. He has an Angavastra Mabeshti along and Angavastra along. Nothing more, nothing less. He is absolutely beyond the hold of 6 propensities. The Shadaripu has lost its hold totally on him. And you see him active. You see him active. But he knows what he is, that immutable, absolute, beyond time, beyond space. He is what he is. I am what I am. Kritvapi na nibaddhate. You see him functioning, but his functioning and your functioning has a world of difference. Your functioning is well planned, well desired, well motivated, well organized. And he does it just for the sake of keeping his body and soul together and his purity. So you see he is doing this, but he is not bound down by these activities. They have a wonderful capacity of switching off. That concept of bhavamukha, as Lila Prasanga, the Sri Ramakrishna, the great master, Swami Sridharananda ji has described, where Sri Ramakrishna used to live. And the best description is, here is a wire rope. And one is walking on the tight rope. Once he tilts this way, he does not fall. When he tilts this way or tilts that way, it appears to you he is tilting towards the world, but he knows he is in his own place, standing on the rope. So, this is the description, information, education, information, all rolled into one. So, let me read the shloka again. Jadricha labha santushta. You are totally saturated, pleased with yourself, with whatever comes your way. Fair or foul, good and bad, excellent or deplorable, you are unfazed. You do not lose your cool. Dvandha atita. You're beyond the dualities. And not only your dualities, You have educated yourself in such a manner. When you see around you excellence and sumptuousness, it has no effect on you. Be matsara. Bigatsara, bigata matsara jesham te bigatsara. That is one who has got rid of that so-called comparison. Sama siddho asiddhocha. Siddhi and asiddhi. He takes it in his stride. Samata, balanced. Not losing one's cool, serenity, poise, tranquility. Kritvapi nanimantate. If you see them doing that, they are not at all involved. That is what is the behavior pattern of a realized soul. Let us move to the next shloka, and let us introduce ourselves, and if required, we will develop it next time. Gata sangasya muktasya jnana avasthita chetasaha Jagyaya acharata karma samagram praviliyate. Shloka number 23 is the last but one shloka where he will complete this section. He is now broadening your concept. What does he say? Gata sangasya muktasya jnana avasthita chetasaha. These are the few words. Each word is independent of each other, at the same time interdependent. Sangha is asakti, attachment. Gata sangasva, a person who has got rid of his sense of attachment. Gata sangasya. Therefore, muktasya. He is free as a bird, as we say in English, as free as a bird. They roam in the sky wherever they want. Gata sangasya means a person who has freed himself from all types of attachment, the grossest to the subtlest. Therefore, he is free. How could he be so? Jnana avasthita chetasaha. His whole being, his whole personality, his chetana, chetasa, chetaha, jnana avasthita. His whole personality is saturated by the result that he has gained in experiencing oneness of the universe. Samadhiman Purusha. He has now outgrown all limitation, and he has established himself in his true, original, magnificent, majestic nature. That is what he has done. Gata Sangha Mukta Jnana avastita cetasa. His whole personality is saturated with these three qualities. And how do the first two qualities happen? Because Jnana avastita cetasa. The best thing to remember is have a cup, fill it with water to the brim. Does it have any place for anything else? Similarly, your cup, your personality, your being, your cetasa, call it by any name. In English, call it your personality, your whole being. That is totally full with the awareness of your own majestic, magnificent self. Is there any space left? There's no space left. Therefore, you can be called Gata Sangam. There's no asakti left. And therefore you're free. Mukta Purusha. Jivana Mukta Purusha. Jivita eva Mukta Sat. Jivan Mukta means a person who appears to be living in this world. Appears to. In appearance, you and he are the same. You are also eating, dressing, moving around, talking to people. He is also doing the same thing. But you are doing with your egocentric motivations. He has no ego whatsoever. His ego is merged with all. So he has no personal axe to grind. Gata sangasya muktasya jnanavastita cetasa jajnaya acharatah karma samakram praviliyate. The whole world loses its separatedness, becomes one with him, or he becomes one with the cosmos. Both ways. Either you say the cosmos has saturated him in oneness, or he in his oneness has saturated the world. This is the last but one shloka of this section. The next shloka is the completion of this section. Brahmarpanam, Brahmavi, Brahmagno, Brahmanahutam, Brahmaivate Nagantavyam, Brahma Karma Samadhina. Well, dears, we will concentrate on this shloka 23rd in our next Sunday class. We'll try to completely understand this shloka and then migrate to the next. Thank you, dear friends. Thank you ever so much. God willing, we'll meet again.
Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.